Greetings to you. Welcome to today's episode of Balls of Wisdom. And today, this is part 3 in the series, Beware of Divisive People. Part 3 in the series, Beware of Divisive People. In the previous parts, the part 1, part 2 in this series, we've already covered the following topics. Number 1, avoid divisive people. The Bible tells us to avoid divisive people. Number 2, divisive people sow discord. Divisive people, they sow discord. Number 3, you see, divisive people, they disrupt church unity. And that stops the church from witnessing about the gospel of Jesus Christ properly. So it disrupts the church's impact witness about Jesus Christ. Now, all those 3 things we covered in great detail. I encourage you to visit the links on your screen right now so you can watch part 1 and part 2 and be mightily blessed. If you didn't watch part 1 and part 2 and it's your first time to watch the series right now, don't worry. Watch. You can still watch. You don't switch off now and say, no, I didn't watch. No, watch now and then create the time to go and watch the other episodes. You'll be mightily blessed. So let's go to 2 Samuel 20, verse 1 and 2, because I want to introduce the point number 4. Beware of divisive people. Point number 4, they take away the joy of people. They take away the joy of the people. Let's read 2 Samuel 20, verse 1 to 2. It's written, there happened to be there a base and contemptible fellow named Sheba, son of Bichri, a Benjamite. He blew a trumpet and said, we have no portion in David and no inheritance in the son of Jesse, every man to his tents. Can you see here? He's telling the people away from David. He says, we have nothing to do with David. Up to this point, the people were full of joy. They were united. Now, this Sheba, son of Bichri, is a contemptible fellow. You see, if you say, if you go to court and the magistrate says you are in contempt of court, it means you have gone against the protocols of the court. You've gone against the rules of the court. And oftentimes, you can even be arrested for it. So here we have Sheba. He is a contemptible fellow. He goes against David. He takes away the joy of people by suddenly calling people and say, let's have nothing to do with David. Go to next verse, 2 Samuel chapter 20, verse 2. So all the men of Israel withdrew from David and followed Sheba, son of Bichri. But the men of Judah stayed faithfully with their king from the Jordan to Jerusalem. Pause here. What do we see? The men of Israel, they listened to this joy killer, Sheba, and they followed him. They thought, wow, life will be better. He disturbed the joy. But the men of Judah, they stayed faithfully with their king from the Jordan to Jerusalem. The same chapter, got verse 6. 2 Samuel 20, verse 6. And David said to Abishai, now will Sheba, son of Bichri, do us more harm than Absalom did. Take your Lord's servants and pursue him, lest he get for himself fenced cities and snatch away our very eyes. Notice here. The men that followed him, that followed Sheba, was taken away the joy of the nation which was united. There's consequences for his actions. It says, take your Lord's. David orders the person, hang on. Now will Sheba, son of Bichri, do us more harm than Absalom did. Now Absalom did tremendous harm to David. Massive harm. Go and study for yourself. He rebelled against David. But here, David says, hey, hang on. This Sheba will do worse than Absalom. Absalom took away the joy of the people. Now this Sheba is going to do worse. So David says, let's take care of this Sheba. Go after him. Otherwise, you'll be out of it. Let's go next verse 7. And they went after him, Joab's men and David's bodyguards, the Sheritites and Peletites, and all the mighty men. They went out from Jerusalem to pursue Sheba, son of Bichri. Go to verse 8. When they were at the great stone in Gibeon, Amasa came to meet them. Joab was wearing a soldier's garment, and over it was a sheathed sword fastened around his hips. And as he went forward, it fell out. Next verse. Joab said to Amasa, are you well, my brother? And Joab took Amasa by the beard with the right hand as if to kiss him. Next verse. But Amasa did not notice the sword in Joab's hand, so Joab struck him, who was to have been his successor, with it in the body, shedding his bowels to the ground without another blow. And soon he died. So Joab and Abishai, his brother, pursued Sheba, son of Bichri. Quote verse 11. And one of Joab's men stood by him and said, whoever favors Joab, it is for David, follow Joab. Next. Verse 12. And Amasa swallowed in his blood in the highway. And when the men saw that all the people who came by stood still, he removed Amasa out of the highway into the field and spread a cloth over him. Verse 13. When Amasa was removed from the highway, all the people went on after Joab to pursue Sheba, son of Bichri. They are continuing. Next. Verse 14. Joab went through all the tribes of Israel to Abel of Beth Makkah, and all the Berites assembled and also went after Sheba ardently. Everyone is going after Sheba. The divisive character. Verse 15. And they came and besieged Sheba in Abel of Beth Makkah, and they cast up a siege mount against the city, and it stood against the rampart, and all the men with Joab battered and undermined the wall to make it fall. Verse 16. Then a wise woman of the city cried, Hear, hear, say to Joab, come here so I can speak to you. Verse 17. When he came near her, the woman said, Are you Joab? He answered, I am. Then she said to him, Hear the words of your handmaid. He answered, I am listening. Then she said, People used to say, Let them but ask counsel at Abel, and so they settled the matter. I am one of the peaceable and faithful Israel you seek to destroy, a city which is the mother of Israel. Why will you swallow up the inheritance of the Lord? Verse 20, Joab answered, Far be it from me that I should swallow up or destroy. That is not true. Verse 21. But a man of the hill country of Ephraim, Sheba, son of Bichri, has lifted up his hand against King David. Deliver him only, and I will depart from the city. And the woman said, Behold, his head shall be thrown to you over the wall. Verse 22. Then the woman in her wisdom went to all the people, and they cut off the head of Sheba, son of Bichri, and cast it down to Joab. So he blew the trumpet, and they retired from the city, every man to his own home. And Joab returned to Jerusalem to the king. Hallelujah. Do you see that? The joy killer, the divisive person, was killed. David did not accommodate the divisive person. Beware of divisive people. Have nothing to do with them. Joy killers have nothing to do with them. Let's go to Numbers 16, verse 1 to 2. And point number 5, let's get ready to close this series. Point number 5 in beware of divisive people is that divisive people get you occupied with conflict and strife instead of doing God's will. Let's go to Numbers 16, verse 1 and 2. Now Korah, son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, with Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, and On, son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men. Verse 2. And they rose up before Moses with certain of the Israelites, 250 princes or leaders of the congregation, called the assembly, men well known and of distinction. Next, verse 3. And they gathered together against Moses and Aaron and said to them, Enough of you. You take too much upon yourselves, seeing that all the congregation is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you lift yourselves up above the assembly of the people? Are you hearing this? They are taking on Moses. See the verse again. Number 16, verse 3. When they gathered together against Moses and Aaron and said to them, Enough of you. They gathered against Moses and Aaron and said, Enough of you, Moses and Aaron. You take too much upon yourselves, seeing that all the congregation is holy. So they're saying, all the congregation, all the people are holy. All the people are holy. Everyone is holy. Every one of them. And the Lord is among them. Why then do you lift yourselves up above the assembly of the Lord? Did you see that? They're challenging the authority of what? Of Moses and Aaron. In their approach, they say, enough, we've had enough of you. Why do you raise yourself above all the people? All the people are holy. Divisive characters. You, Aaron Moses, you lift yourselves above the people. God appointed them. But divisive people, they cause strife. Next verse. Verse 4. And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face. Let's go to verse 5. Numbers 16, verse 5. And he said to Korah and all his company, in the morning the Lord will show who are his. And who is holy. And he will cause him to come near to him. Him who he has chosen he will cause to come near to him. Moses' words to Korah. Remember, Korah is at the forefront of leading people to turn on Moses. And Moses tells him, Korah, tomorrow by the morning, the Lord will show who are his and who is holy. I love Moses. Same chapter. Let's go to verse 28. And you see for yourself, and we end there, those few verses. See, Korah is a divisive character. Verse 28. Number 6, verse 28. And Moses said, by this you shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works. For I do not act of my own accord. Verse 29. If these men die the common death of all men, or if only what happens to everyone happens to them, then the Lord has not sent me. Next verse, verse 30. But if the Lord causes a new thing to happen, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up, with all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into Sheol, the place of the dead, then you shall understand that these men have provoked, spurned, despised the Lord. Verse 31. As soon as he stopped speaking, the ground under the offenders split apart. Are you hearing this, brothers and sisters? As soon as he finished speaking, the ground split apart. Verse 32. Number 6, verse 32. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them and their households, and Korah and all his men and all their possessions. Notice, all the people that had agreed with the divisive people are swallowed up. Not only them, their households, their wives, their children, their wealth, everything swallowed up. Beware of divisive people. Don't side with divisive people. Even if they might even be in the majority, don't side with them. They work against God's will. They were swallowed up. Verse 33, number 16:33. They and all that belonged to them went down alive into Sheol, the place of the dead, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the assembly. Next verse. And all Israel who were round about them fled at their cry, for they said, lest the earth shall swallow us up also. They had followed divisive people. Divisive people were swallowed up. Beware of divisive people. Don't tolerate divisive characters. Avoid them. Thank you for joining us in this series. God bless you.
All over the world, lift up your voice. Do you know who you are? Shout it aloud, declare it. Believers anthem. Come on, let's go. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show his excellence. Hey, all I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show his excellence. All I require for life, God has given me, for I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what he says I am, where he says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what he says I am, where he says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm walking in power.